Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you all very much for the opportunity to be here, and to thank your President, Michael, and Tom for the invitation to be here and to say a few words to you about where we stand now and the journey that we are hoping to make with all of you now in the coming years. You're going to have to bear with me if my comments are brief and if I don't have the opportunity to answer any questions. But I'm literally in the throes at the moment of working on the budget that we will deliver next Tuesday and that I am confident will be passed by the Oireachtas and by the Dáil. But I have an awful lot of work to do between now and then. But I did want to come along here today in recognition of the fundamental importance of this sector to the journey that our country is making at the moment in terms of what's happening within our economy and in terms of our future prospects. And in the time that's available to me, I'd just like to emphasise a few points to you in terms of government commitment and what we are looking to do across the coming years. I do want to begin with a very specific point in relation to a very specific project. But I want to do so because it is an example of the kind of project that I hope the government and public agencies will be able to work with all of you in the private sector on in the coming years. And that's in relation to the recent decision that was made this morning in relation to the future of the Grange Gorman project and the development of an outstanding new third-level educational campus in the heart of Dublin. And it's been confirmed this morning now that the National Development Finance Agencies, that their position has now been upheld. And I look forward to seeing work on this site commence soon. This is a gigantically important project that has the ability to deliver high-class urban regeneration in the heart of our city, while speaking directly to a need that our country has at the moment about how we can better upskill many different parts of our society to help them respond back to new challenges that we're going to have in the future. And it is an example of all parts of government working together and with the private sector to deliver the rollout of the Lewis Cross City project adjacent to that site, a project which has been delivered by many companies who are present here today, and then running alongside that a world-class educational campus, building on the heritage of all that is there in Grange Gorman, but in put in place a new project that's fit for purpose for the future. And I hope now that many companies here in this room, that I'll have an opportunity to see you and your employees on site soon, beginning work on that exciting project. Now, more broadly, all of this is taking place in the context of the government looking to respond back to the need that our country has in relation to capital investment. As we have emerged out of the horrendous difficulty of recent years, one of the things that has changed across that period is the supply of capital investment went down, for many reasons that all of you will know, at a time in which the demand for that capital investment was also beginning to decrease. And we're now at a very different place in our economy. We see from what's happening in our roads, our schools, our hospitals, the demand for homes, the demand for office space, that we have to shift gear now collectively and quickly within the resources that are available to us to respond back to a higher level of need and plan to do that in a new and in a different way. Now, the government published, and the last government published in 2015, a 6-year plan for infrastructural investment up to 2021. And that was an entire plan that delivered around €42 billion worth of investment between the semi-state sector and directly from the Exchequer in new capital projects across the country. And we are seeing the tangible proceeds of that kind of investment already underway. I mentioned Lewis Cross City. the work that is underway in relation to roads projects such as the N17 and N18, the progress that has been made all over the country in the rollout and construction of new primary care centres. Last weekend, my colleague, Minister Simon Harris, was in Cork City, and he turned the sod on what will be the largest primary care centre in the country when it's complete. A number of months ago, I was with Minister Harris and we turned the sod on a brand new primary care centre in Ballybock, work for which is now already underway. But as part of the recent summer economic statement, what the government have said is that out of the additional resources that we believe and expect to be available to us in the coming years, we are going to prioritise capital investment to take a larger share of those additional resources than have been available before. So out of the additional expenditure framework that was published by Minister Noonan and I, what we are saying is that we want to make available a further €5 billion between 2017 and 2021/2022 for new capital projects. And we will now be working with the sector through putting in place a review of the current capital plan to try and give and to look to deliver greater clarity regarding what we are going to do, when, and how we expect to do it. Because we have now committed to various projects, for example, the N4 in Sligo between Clooney and Castlebaldwin, the Dunkettle interchange in Cork. We've made and recommitted ourselves to the delivery of a metro project. And what we now need to do is, with the expectation of additional resources becoming available, work within government and with yourselves to bring greater clarity to what we want to do and when. And what we will be laying out across the first half of next year is a review of the current capital plan and putting in place a process to identify what we'll do when and how. But what's going to be crucial as part of all of this is we do have to move away, and we are moving away, from the approach of projects following the money. A matter I'm continually tackled on, understandably, is I'm challenged on the fact that at a particular point in our economic cycle, we were spending €8 to €9 billion on capital expenditure. And the challenge that's put to me is, when are we going to return to that level? And that's not the way I look at it. What I look at it is, what is the share of our national income that an economy like ours, compared to other economies, should be investing in capital formation? And the answer to that question is between 3.8 and 4% of our national income. We're currently at around 3%. And the plan that I've talked you through will get us to that 4 in an incremental and affordable manner. Because what will be crucial for me is, as we get to that point, we don't get back to pricing levels and we don't get back to values that inhibit our ability to deliver projects that the country needs to see delivered. We have to do this in a way that is affordable for everybody, affordable for you, but also affordable for the taxpayer. One of the issues that we'll have to tackle in relation to how we get to that point is where we source investment from and how we do that. I've outlined what our plans are going to be in relation to exchequer investment. I'm particularly pleased with the confirmation there at the end of last week from the new Vice President of the European Investment Bank, Andrew McDougall, that the EIB will be opening up their own office in Dublin by the end of this year. And it's the first time the EIB have had a local presence in Ireland. We need it, and we need that because we need to understand how we can better engage with the funding instruments that they have available. And a local presence here in Ireland will give the opportunity for you to better do that, and for the government to build on the good relationship that we have had with the EIB in recent years. A further project that we'll be looking to make progress on next year is how we embed that kind of investment in a broader planning framework for the country, because that is an area that we can do better on in the future when we align investment choices between the public and private sector with a better understanding of what the right national and regional planning guidelines are for the country. It offers that prospect of integration between investment and planning that can deliver better outcomes for everybody. So that's the point I'd like to conclude on. This sector has gone through one hell of a journey in recent years, reflecting the change that our country has gone through. Our prospects are better than we thought they could be in 2010, 2011. And what we have a shared responsibility to do now is to work with you within government and through your organisation here of the construction industry, the CIF, to make that progress one that's mutually beneficial for everybody. We had an example of how we will do that through the presence of your Chief Executive yesterday in the new Labour Employer Economic Forum that we have set up, that we want to make a feature of how we can engage with all employers. He was present in that yesterday, articulating the opportunities that you have, but also the needs that you have. And we also had an opportunity to engage with this sector, as we did with other sectors last week, when myself and Minister Noonan met a variety of groups across the country in the Department of Finance and Public Expenditure and Reform to hear your views on matters and to talk to you about our planning for Budget 2017 and beyond. So I'm sorry I don't have the opportunity to spend more time with you. I'm sure Ian and all of you will be able to get far better return out of Minister Coveney this afternoon in terms of what's going to be in the budget, but I'll be keeping a close eye on that myself if that happens. And I want to thank you for all of the contribution that many of you have made to where our country is now. But we want to do more. We want to do it better. This government is really committed to doing that. And you're going to see next week in the budget our genuine efforts to respond back to the new political environment that we're in and deliver a budget that tries to make some progress on areas that matter to all in the country. Thank you.